So, it's an absolute shame that it took a fire to end austerity, and that this political idea of austerity wasn't ended by political debate and words. It was ended by, unfortunately, a terrible tragedy. If you don't know what I'm talking about, well, in the UK you almost certainly know what I'm talking about, but anywhere else, just look at what happened in a tower block called the Grenfell Tower Block. And this is... it's going to come out. We all know it's going to come out. It will be a tragedy that could have been avoided if the council had spent proper money on it, and if the government had proper regulations in to begin with. And yet here we are. We sit where the government has told councils, you must cut back, you must cut back. And every year councils have had to make continuous cutbacks. And I'm in an odd very situation where I have a friend who works for Kensington Council and was in the office on this past Friday. She was working there. Now I can't say her name because if I do, it will put her job at risk. So I don't want her to lose her job, but I think that there's inside information where basically, oh yeah, by the way, all the members are under a gag order, not to tell anything. So I cannot go into too many specifics because I don't want her to lose a job, and I don't want to give too much information away that could cause her to be seen as a leak. Now, what's happened, particularly in this council, is that year after year, they've lost staff members, they've lost funding, and they are in situations where they can literally they do not have the staff required to do the work needed. But yeah, and that's the end. That's all I can say about that. I can't go into any more detail on that because of the situation she's in. I don't want to say any more than that. But yeah, it's absolutely horrible situation, and my feelings go out to the victims and their families. But as usual, this is a time when we have to look back and we have to say, look, people have been saying for years, when all these cuts first started, police officers off the record saying these cuts aren't just going to be bad, they're going to be catastrophic. You had people in the fire service saying exactly the same thing, ambulance service saying exactly the same thing, and it's a shame that it has taken a national tragedy and an outrage. And I think this will be the one for the ages. What would have happened if this tower block had happened a week before the elections? I think Corbyn would have walked in to number 10. I think he would have had a very comfortable majority. I don't think you would be seeing the situation now, essentially. But who knows? It will literally be one of the great, what if questions of history. What if this had happened a week later? But there you go. So, back to what I was saying. Austerity. The whole idea of austerity is you cut back, it saves money, and then what? And this is the problem, ironically, we are facing, because this is the Tory government, and this is a lot of austerity and neoliberalism that a lot of the people in the Tory parties that have been pushing for Brexit, even the people who were part of and helped fund UKIP, and the Tories that went over to UKIP and are now trying to get back in with the Tories, have been practicing for years This is the completion to some of them of the Margaret Thatcher revolution that she started back in the 80s. To them, they want economics to be very laissez-faire. There should be no investment in the UK nationally. It should all be internationally, because somehow that will make things better for us. It won't. You've seen this continue year on year, as not only the Tories but certain members of, again, the Labour Party have pushed for it. This is the Britain that these, you know, hardcore people have been pushing for years. They want to get us out because they want to get rid of these regulations, and the sad thing is that this could have been a lot worse. There are EU fire and health safety regulations which they had to follow, which were followed, but not completely. Why? Because they could get away with it. The government didn't pass those particular laws. But, you know, here we are. You know, there's very little other you can say about it other than, where is it? The Great Brexit Swindle. I will be doing a review on that soon, and my God, we are in a really horrible situation. You know, I read Brexit, What the Hell Happens Next, and Jesus Christ, the mess we are getting into, and now you realise the powers that were behind Brexit and who funded Brexit and what were their goals and their aims. And yeah, it gets worse, but that's a video for another time. But here you have a unfortunate situation where a political, an ideological idea ended, and hopefully will end because of a fire. I do not see any reason anytime soon why, you know, even Theresa May has said to the Tory parties, austerity has to end. I think you will be seeing her walking on an even more tighter tightrope than she was before. You get awful, you know, horrid feelings now as of, you know, where will this go next? Because I guarantee you now a lot of newspapers are going to be looking for, well, if regulations weren't followed in this tower block, what else could go wrong, and where else are other councils cutting corners? Where are they doing things? Where are other disasters essentially waiting to happen that, you know, could be avoided by almost making sure there's, you know, a switch in the right place, or something like, you know, something simple like that, as in the, you know, as in the case of the tower blocks. Simple things could have helped out massively, but because they cost money, they couldn't do. And what had the Tory government been saying for years? You've got to cut back. You know, that's how austerity ended in the UK, and that'll be how history, I think, remembers austerity ending in the UK.